So today I want to talk about love. And love is confusing because we don't talk about it enough. So there's different types of love, and I wanted to talk about two wheels you can find on the internet. So there's the power and control wheel, and then there's the equality wheel, which we can say is fairness as well. And that's the one that has love in it. Love and power are not always the same thing. So I made a little diagram to compare the little sections. So we have respect, trust, honesty, responsibility, shared responsibility, fairness, and then we have intimidation and emotional abuse and isolating and all these different things. So let's talk about it. And again, you can Google power and control wheel or equality wheel and find it for yourself. I didn't make these wheels, but I did make a little table. So we have equality and fairness versus power and control. So equality and fairness. We have respect. Respect is good. So that's listening and honoring your boundaries. If somebody can listen to you, that's a good sign. Sometimes people just talk over you and don't listen. So listening is a healthy, I should write love on here. If only I had a pen. Excuse me. So I'm sitting on the floor. And these are my, I use these at presentations. So this is an article on Share Hope Throughout, which is my nonprofit. And I'm also a therapist. And it's good to talk about what love is so we can recognize it. So respect is loving. It's listening, it's honoring boundaries. What they say on here is listening to it. So these are dealing with domestic violence or intimate partner violence, but we can use it to talk more, broaden it even. So theirs says listening to her non-judgmental, being emotionally affirming and understanding, valuing opinions. So in here I just write listening and honoring boundaries. That's very respectful. So emotional abuse, which would be the opposite, is like putting someone down, name calling, embarrassing you, making you feel guilty for their own bullying. So if somebody's mean to you and you say, you hurt my feelings, and they said, well, you did this. No, you don't need to be mean to anybody. That's power and control. That's not love. Let's do a not love one. So you got love here. We're going to cross it out because it is not love. You see that? So we got love. We got, that's not very loving. So another loving thing is trust and support. Allowing each other to set goals, right to their own feelings, friends, social life. The opposite is using isolation, controlling who others can see, talk to, or do, using excuse of jealousy. So there's times with adults this is a big red flag, and there's times where if you're a kid and your parent says, I don't want you hanging out with that friend, maybe they know something about that friend could be getting in trouble, and they don't want you to get in trouble. So sometimes we do, as parents, say, we don't want you hanging out with a certain friend, but generally when you're grown-ups, you get to choose, even if you know what you want to do. So there's differences in this. So the respect should be all the time, but there's never a reason to put anyone down or call mean names or embarrass somebody or make anyone feel guilty for your bad behavior. That's very not loving. So let's go down to honesty and accountability is loving. So acting responsible for your own self and your mistakes, communicating openly and truthfully, apologizing honestly. And an apology, an honest apology, means you're going to stop doing the behavior you apologized for. And that's a big one. So that's loving, but not loving is like minimizing, denying, blaming. So discounting another person's feelings, not owning your mistakes, blaming other people for bad behaviors, trying to make others keep secrets is actually not a good thing. Even as a therapist, there's some secrets I can't keep. So if somebody's going to hurt themselves or others, I need to get you help. And if somebody hurt a kid that was a grown-up, we need to make sure that grown-up's not hurting anybody. So we have to actually get help. And there's some secrets that you shouldn't keep. If somebody's hurting themselves or hurting others, you should tell a grown-up. I have it on here, mandated reporters or school counselors, therapists, and teachers too. So, yeah, keeping secrets about somebody being embarrassed about what they look like or how they did on a test. Like, some things are okay to keep secrets if somebody's embarrassed about their what they look like, but if somebody does something dangerous or hurts somebody or does something that's not appropriate about private parts, those aren't secrets, just so you know. Okay, so now we have negotiation and fairness, which is able to compromise where all needs are met. So for grown-ups, this is a huge deal. And for kids, grown-ups are in charge, but we should be looking out for your basic needs and your well-being. So sometimes we don't actually compromise on certain rules. Like in my house, we don't play with balls in the front yard. Why? Because there's a busy street out front. And if the ball runs in, kids just naturally run after it, and I don't want my kids hit by a car. So there's some things that I'm like, nope, no balls in the front yard. There's certain rules where we're strict on it. We don't like fireworks inside. We don't do it. There's certain rules we are strict on. Using coercion and threats, making threats to keep control, that's not a good thing. That's not love. Now I have the bottom italicized, the next three, because this is more grown-up things. Economic partnerships is for grown-ups to make decisions financially together, or both are benefiting. For kids, that might be, you don't get to make decisions with mom and dad, but like we should be able to find a way that you could earn money to buy something you want, or we can work with you on those. Using economic abuse is not love. That's preventing other people from getting a job, making their own money, or giving a grown-up an allowance. And you can only spend $10 this week, but you're an adult, and if you weren't taking care of the kids, they wouldn't be able to work. So there's different things. Or lying about money when you're grown-ups is different. And then shared responsibility is for grown-ups mutually agreeing on distribution of work, family decisions together. That actually can include some kids. So you can have chores that are realistic for your age. So maybe grown-ups can let you put your laundry away, or put your dirty dishes in the sink. There's different things you can be responsible for. Your bedroom. These are all house rules where there's certain things that are okay. But one child shouldn't be responsible for cleaning the whole house, doing all the dishes, cooking the food, doing the laundry. There's shared responsibility. And then I put parentheses because some of these charts are kind of outdated because they said using male privilege as treating others like a servant, making all decisions by self, master of the castles on the wheel. But like females can do it too, where the dad or the partner, one person's not doing anything, and they're acting like that's okay. So it's kind of sharing it. So everyone's kind of participating in making the family work well and the household work well together. Because love is like, it's work. And everyone's got to be involved. So there's no form of abuse when there's love. And if there's not love, there might be physical, emotional, or sexual abuse. There's also all your basic needs are met when there's love. And sometimes people need to get help to get those basic needs met. So sometimes people do go to the food banks and food pantries and ask for help, and that's fine. We all need help sometimes. But we want to make sure, you have food. If you don't have food, you can always tell your school as well. And then not love is like basic needs not being met. There's families that actually lock food doors, and maybe for some families, a kid is allergic to something and they have to lock it because the kid still eats it and has to go to the hospital. And so there's a spectrum. It says you deserve to be treated fair and not abused. You deserve the love. And again, you can talk to a teacher about anything where you're not having the love. And then there's another person that talks about love languages, and let's see if I can remember them. So some people feel love by cuddling, reading a book together. So there's quality time, and there's physical touch. So somebody may feel loved if you give them a long hug. Quality time would be like watching a movie together, playing a board game, reading books, going outside and playing a game, going on a hike together. So we have, let's see if I can read them. Okay. And positive physical touch is like what I just said. So positive, we're going to say positive, because there's also unhealthy. So it shouldn't make you feel ashamed. It should be done in public, like if everything above board. Quality time. My handwriting's not the best. Let me try again. Let's see if I can do a better job. 3. Acts of service, which is straight service. So I feel loved when my significant other changes my oil in my car. I feel so loved. 1 is words of affirmation. So that's saying, wow, you did a really good job. When I clean the house, my significant other comes home and I really worked really hard, he actually says, wow, the house looks great. Because sometimes I don't do such a good job. Let's see. Acts of service, words of affirmation. Oh no, I forget the last one. Does anyone know? No comments to tell me. Do I have to look in my book? Because I did write them in my book. I'll be right back. There's another one. Gifts. Gifts is not my love language. It is some people. I don't actually, if you said, hey, I donated a tree in this country, an apple tree in a country, I'd be like, oh, thank you. But like, yeah, gifts isn't my, somebody got me a journal. I was like, oh, thank you. Somebody actually painted a rock for me. And it had Share Hip Through Art, and it's downstairs. That's a gift. Thank you to my friend. And I was like, oh, I can use these for displays. And she's actually given me tons of gifts of art that I give away to my clients, and I give away at a walk called Out of the Darkness in my local area. And this is a really sad walk. It's about people it's for suicide prevention. So also, we're going to write about, so here's these, but we also need to talk about self-love. So there's loving others and healthy relationships, but self-love. So there's a saying, you can only give what you have, and self-love is like huge in terms of if you love yourself, you can love others. So we need to work on self-love. Max Lucado has a book called A Love Worth Giving, and that's kind of where the concept of you can only give what you have and how spirituality can be a strength, because all that healing that can take place, there's tons of different theories, but we want people, can you see this one? Can I scroll in? I don't know how to do that. But it says, today I choose hope, peace, happiness, love, joy, to live, love, live, laugh, smile, be, me, think, dream, inspire, shine on, wish, believe, faith. Don't give up. You can do it. So self-love is huge. So I hope you guys love yourself and take care of yourself and have some skills where you do things for you as well. So you, So we want to love ourselves because you're worth loving. I have a mat downstairs where it's got, I have to bring it out. There's like, you're beautiful, you're never alone. And then there's like scriptures that go with it, but you know, love is patient, love is kind. You know, love doesn't hurt. Like, we need to do those things for ourselves as well. So, yeah. Judith Marie Kuzmak Viers, J.K. Viers, author of Crap Happens Philosophy, The Ultimate Guide to Hope and Healing in a Crap-Filled World, and founder of Share Hope Through Art. ShareHopeArt.com is the website. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you learned something about love. And just remember, live your life on purpose, because no one's an accident. If you're here, trust me, there's a reason. I aspire to be a giver of love, a giver of good vibes, and a giver of strength. I'm so thankful for you all. Wishing you a ridiculous amount of happiness. And remember, everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind always, and be kind to yourself. Thank you.